Russian Empire was building a year-round, warm water port to the west of the Korean peninsula called Port Arthur. It is now in present-day China. The Trans-Siberian Railway was bringing in Russian troops to assist building Port Arthur. When the Japanese tried to oppose the Russian army influence in the area, the Russians simply shrugged them off and ignored their pleas. All Japanese attempts to get the Russians to declare their intentions with Korea or sign a treaty went nowhere. The Japanese Empire was near bankruptcy. The Japanese knew that time was against them. Something had to be done, and soon. Japan issued a declaration of war on February 8, 1904. The Japanese Imperial Navy launched a sneak attack on the Russian Far East Fleet at Port Arthur. Sound familiar? 3 hours before the Russians even got the declaration of war. Even though the initial assault on Port Arthur failed to achieve its goal, the Japanese were able to quickly follow the attack with a blockade and then a siege of the port. The Russians had to send their fleet halfway around the world just to fight the Japanese. The Dogger Bank incident occurred on the night of October 21, 1904, when the Baltic fleet of the Imperial Russian Navy mistook a British trawler fleet in the North Sea for Imperial Japanese Navy torpedo boats and fired upon them. This edginess didn't come from nowhere. It is likely that the Japanese started a rumor that they would attack the Russians while en route to Asia. The threat of Japanese torpedo boats haunted the Russians for the entire trip around the world, but cost the Japanese nothing. When the Russians finally got to the real battlefront, they were emotionally and physically exhausted. This is one of the main reasons the Japanese won the Battle of Tsushima, based on Sun Tzu's principle: if you are far from the enemy, make him believe you are near. This map shows the various attacks during the Russo-Japanese War. This map shows the naval battles between the Japanese Combined Fleet and the Russian Baltic Fleet. This is Japanese propaganda art. If you notice the box at the top, the Russians are attacking the women and children. The Japanese are portraying themselves as a kind, gentle people with Red Cross armbands and tending to the wounded Russians. If you liked what you see, hit the subscribe button or share. Thank you. This has been EmersusTech.